Hey friends, and welcome to 2 Pixels Off. My name is Brad Hussey with my co-host and buddy,
Mike Janda. Woo! The thunder from the tundra.
Yeah.
I'm taking over your tagline.
You're taking my name. You're taking it.
Yes.
You're taking it over. The thunder from the tundra.
Yes.
And Psycho Myco. So excited to be here today.
Welcome to 2 Pixels Off, a podcast for creative entrepreneurs.
I just wanted to shout out to everybody listening. In fact, I have enjoyed seeing the comments and the lovely reviews and the nice words. It's been really cool. So I encourage you to do that. It really is encouraging for us. It kind of fires us up, but it's also nice for the algorithm. The algorithm really appreciates when the show that you listen to is 5 stars, and then we get into more ears of the people who are lovely like you. So please do that. Give us that just perfect review. I would really appreciate it. Also wanted to do a quick shout out to our friends over at Wix Studio for making this conversation today possible. So big shout out to them. Make sure you go check them out. It's just wixstudio.com. Check it out. It's not only a really great website builder, no code, but it's also this business tool. So you can build your whole agency on it. Serving clients is really easy. As a web designer myself, I use it for my clients. And there's actually a tweet or an X post, whatever we call it these days. Somebody said, who uses Wix Studio for like client work? Does anybody out there like really use it for client work? And so I jumped in there and I was like, look, I had a project that I needed to complete really fast. The client came to me and she said, we're doing a big New York City premiere of a documentary that I am in. And my foundation needs their website up by then because we're going to have a lot of eyes on our foundation. And our web designer left us high and dry with this old antiquated WordPress website. And I don't know what to do. And so I said, I'll take care of it. I'll rescue the whole thing. And we're going to rebuild and redesign the site. And it's going to be done, taken care of with plenty of time before your big debut in this New York City premiere, which was in like a week from that conversation. And so I specifically chose Wix Studio to do that because I knew that from my tool belt and my arsenal, I would not be able to do that if I wasn't using a tool like Wix Studio. So check it out. It's been amazing for me using it with clients, and it's been really cool to see all the developments coming out of Wix Studio. So big shout out. Now, Mike, I actually wanted to change it up a little bit today.
Okay.
Speaking of like closing deals, clients, we did an episode about, what are you really, what's the sales funnel and all these sorts of things. There's a common question that I get from people in my community, and you get it all the time. I am certain of this, is like web designers, creative entrepreneurs, a lot of the time they don't really know what they're solving. And they're like, I'm a web designer. I sell web design services, or I'm a designer. I sell design. But they always get hung up on like, that doesn't really work. And it's not getting me clients. And
it'll get you clients. It gets you cheap clients because you're selling logos. Yeah. You're selling logos. And if that's the problem you're solving, that it's a low price problem. That's a low price problem. Yeah.
And you know who has the luxury of selling low price problems? Giant companies like the Canvas, the Walmart, these huge corporations. They have the luxury of selling low price products to kind of like everyday ordinary problems because they have the distribution. Whereas
GoDaddy,
the little guy,
give you a free website. Register your domain, and they'll be like, "Here, start your website right now with our website builder. It doesn't cost you anything." Yeah,
it's like they have the distribution; they can do that. You and I, and those of us listening can't do that. We can't afford to sell cheap stuff. So a lot of the time, us as creative entrepreneurs, web designers, we don't really know what problems we're solving because we usually just say like, well, they don't have a website. So that's the problem I'm solving. It's not. So I thought it'd be really cool if we went back and forth to tell everyone listening our thoughts and ideas on what designers are actually solving for clients.
Okay, good. I love this because I didn't get it. I did not get this until probably year 7, 8, 9 of my agency. Until then, I thought I was selling websites. I thought I was selling identity design. I thought I was selling an app. I thought I was selling a brochure design. That's what I thought I was selling, but I wasn't. I was actually selling something way more valuable to my clients, but I never articulated it because I didn't understand it. We're going to give you, I've got 9, 10 things here that you are really selling to your clients that have more value than just a logo. So let's go with the first one. And I'm not going to do these in the order that we have them, Brad. I'm going to choose one that I'm a little more passionate about right here. And it is conversion. That's what we're selling. We are selling conversion of a potential customer into a paying customer. That's what we're selling. Now, sometimes you may do a logo design that helps convert a potential customer into a paying customer. Sometimes it's a website redesign that converts their visitors into paying customers. But if we start to look through that lens of what we're really offering our client, and we say to them things like, you know what? A lot of people can design a logo for you that's going to be aesthetically pleasing. The logo I design, or we design at my agency, what we want it to do is to help nurture and convert your customer into a paying customer, your potential customer into a paying customer. That's what we do at my agency. Now you're talking a bigger, more valuable offering than what most creatives out there, and especially freelancers, are trying to pitch and sell to their clients.
And I'm going to say, and this is a nice little kind of throwback to our previous episode, that the logo, the brand identity design, like the marketing or the identity collateral, like logos and letterhead and whatnot, the front facing brand, those are, I think, more in the awareness stage of the brand. Like brand awareness is what that kind of is. So can a logo get you a client? Probably not directly, but what it can get you is, let's say you're a plumber, or let's say I'm a web designer, and in my agency, we do brand identity design, conversion, conversion focused website design, and a whole bunch in between. Email marketing. It's a digital marketing studio. Okay. And we focus on like trades. So we got plumbers, and we've got the plumber here who whipped together a logo with clip art and whatnot, AI, and it looks really bad. And it's not trustworthy. And I don't really know. It's something off. Like the everyday consumer who's like, my pipes are broken, I need a plumber. They're going to look at two logos, and one kind of looks like some haphazard thrown together. Is this guy even in business anymore? And there's 2 bad reviews. I'm not sure. But this one here, hey, that looks pretty professional. I see like this Mr. Reuters over here is like, they're the big name, but this local one kind of looks like it's playing in the same field here, at least visually. And hey, a couple good reviews here, and everything's set up nice. The website is consistent. That logo will get you, these higher conversion rates. Now, was it exactly the logo? Probably not, but it did play a factor in it. So those low conversion rates, if you're selling branding and you're selling brand identity, probably shore up some of your services to, if you say like, our logos get you clients. And you go, what? Seriously? How? Like, well, because it's a part of a bigger strategy. And so our logos aren't just, here's a nice logo. It's part of a strategy that not only that's going to capture their attention, that wrapped on your truck, that's going to turn heads. And we have really clever marketing and copywriting and conversion optimized websites, and it's going to get calls on your phone. You're going to need to start like turning that down. Then they go, I'll buy that logo and whatever else it comes with. That's what you're selling.
Good.
Okay.
It's good. Okay. So that was number 1, low conversion or selling conversion. That's what, that's that thing that we're selling. What's another one on our rapid fiery list?
Yeah. Complementary one to that would be like a complete absence of brand identity. So that's something big. Like, so you can run a business without a brand identity, at least visually. You have a brand in the sense that, the person's going to interact with you and they assume certain things about you. That's kind of part of your brand identity. The way that you talk on the phone, the positive experience or the negative experience, that's all a part of the brand. But having a complete lack of the design collateral. So I'm going to use our plumber friend again here. Maybe we need to switch up our niches, our target audience here, but I'm going to go with the plumber again. And starting up the business, doesn't have any logo, doesn't have any color schemes, branding, doesn't have any messaging, any visual element to create some sort of cohesive, here's how I want you to perceive us. Here's the lens I want you to look at us through. It's just kind of a wide open. And that's a problem. So that's something that you're selling. And if you're selling, that, the people who don't have that and are struggling with that, and believe me, like I mentioned a couple episodes past, I have a friend who's a gas fitter and a plumber starting up his own company. And I remember the conversation he had with me where he's like, I don't have a website and I don't have Google stuff. I don't know, and there's logos. I know there's AI and AI can create logos. And I got a buddy who can, I don't know, there's just so much. And I just, that's not what I care about. But I know that freaking people who are going to call me and help me pay the bills for my family, they care about that, I think. But I don't even know if that's what so he desperately needed somebody to say look, I'll take care of it. You don't have a brand identity, you got logos, you don't have your Google listing set up, your social, any of it. You don't have any of it set up. We'll take care of it. Here's our packages 1, 2, and 3 with various forms of value and end results. And that's what we got. And that's what you're selling. And you're selling you could take a load off, man. That's what I'm selling.
Yeah. They have a business, they don't have a brand. So you're creating that brand image for them, and people will buy that. And it's a lot more valuable than just saying it's a logo. It is a logo and signage and menu or a service one sheet and things that ads or whatever this business needs to go to market.
Yes. And you're also giving them, I'm giving you the playbook too. Maybe it's a part of it is I give you the templates and the playbook and I give you the systems and I give you the instructions. It's you want to create a new flyer that you send out in direct mail, or you're taking out an ad on the huge water tower that's a big digital billboard that's 20 feet wide or something like that. I'll give you all of the templates and whatever the format is. Canva is taking the design conversation by storm these days because of their big presentation in Canva Pro. And there's a lot of designers who are kind of ruffled their feathers about it, but there's a lot of designers, big names too, who are hey, good on Canva. Any good designer, any good entrepreneur can, see problems and see opportunities. And I think this is an opportunity. Your clients, it's easy to work in Canva and tools like that. So take control of that. Create really good templates that are easy for you to produce, easy for them to reproduce and create and not break it. Because that's the problem is you get a client and then they get their grubby hands on your work and then they ruin it. We've seen it all the time. But if you can create a system that's almost foolproof for them, you're look, I'm creating the brand identity for you, but I'm creating your own playbook so that once I've established the foundation for you, everything you create afterwards makes you look better than the Mr. Rooters, than the big franchised companies who you're competing with. You're going to look like a boss because of what we're going to provide for you.
Yeah. Okay. So creating that brand identity system for a client that does not have it at all. That is something that you're selling. It's more than just a logo. I'm going to give you a tangent off of that one that you could use with your friend, but it is first impressions. That's something bigger that we're actually selling. It's not a logo. It's not a website. It's a first impression with a potential customer. So take your friend who's going to market with their new business. What's the first impression going to be when they go and they launch, and those first impressions are so valuable? You could go to him and say, look, I'm going to take care of this for you. I'm going to help you get to market. We're going to create a logo. We're going to create a brand identity system. We're going to do this, blah, blah, blah. Because you know what? You can never get back the first impression that you make with your potential customers when you go to market. Now, all of a sudden, you're talking to this client about a bigger thing than just designing the crap because he doesn't know what to design. He doesn't even know. He's afraid of Canva. He's afraid of all of it. He doesn't know what he even needs. But you're going one step further. I'll create that stuff because the problem I'm solving for you is making a great first impression when you go to market as a business. I think that's something we can use in sales. Is so valuable.
And how much more impactful is that conversation? Just to put yourself in that situation. You're sitting there with an acquaintance, like a warm lead. It could be a friend. It could be a business colleague. It could just be someone that you're meeting at a conference. You're going to a trade show and you're talking to like a plumber, or another tradesperson, electrician starting up his shop. And we all come across those conversations. And so just keep your ears out and you'll see it. And just imagine that conversation. You go, wow, hey, good for you for doing that. That's amazing. So you left the job and you're starting up your own business. Like, that's awesome. And he's like, what? It's like, I bought a van. I bought all the gear. Like, man, it's expensive running a business. It's pretty crazy, but I'm so pumped that I can already sense the freedom and I love that. But I'm, pretty stressed about all these other things. And then if you go from that and you go, you know what? I'm a web designer. And what do you think? Like, what if I sell you, like, what if we do a website? Like, let's do a website. I do websites. And then like, great, that's nice. But like, why is this about you now? And so imagine that conversation. You're like, hey, I could design you a logo. I'm like, what, for like $50? Because I can get one on Fiverr for cheap. So like, what are you doing here? Then you go, no. Like this is incredible. And you got that big trade. You're doing that big trade show. You're renting out a table, a big booth. You're getting the whole thing. You know what would sell that really well? Like, I'm imagining this epic table. The branding materials are super consistent. You look really boss. You make a big splash. That first impression is there. I can even see like, we have like a screen, like a TV screen, like a large one that has like B-roll of you doing your stuff. And I'm talking like really high quality sort of like footage that really sells you and your brand and the whole thing. And then when they go to your site, it's consistent. It's easy to book times with you, to book you for emergencies. It's like, I could just imagine all that. What if we just did something like that? I could take care of all of it and we would create a first impression that you would never get to do again. What do you think about that? So it goes from, how much is your logo service? You do like, you drag and you drop in Canva and stuff for $50. And you're like, no. Like, that's one thing. And then there's this other thing. You go like, holy smokes, I want that. Because you just painted a picture that I can sense as that is valuable. And you could take care of that for me.
Yeah.
You're giving them the opportunity to say yes to something way bigger. And so that's something you're definitely selling.
I think the way that's a good example. I think the way that designers can use some of this conversation or understanding these real things that they're actually selling is when the client comes to you and says, hey, Brad, how much for you to design a logo? That's what they say. And then Brad responds and says, okay, yeah, we do logos, but tell me a little bit about your business. And then they say, well, I'm just going to market. I bought my van, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. And then Brad tunes in to this idea that they're going to market. They have a brand new business. So Brad starts talking about the things they're really buying. Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, we can design a logo for you. That's no problem. But what we really want to do is help you make a good first impression when you go to market. And we want to help those initial potential customers that see you. We want to help you convert those into paying customers. That's what we really do. And it's a bigger engagement than just a logo. Anybody can design a logo for you. You can just go buy a logo if that's what you want, $50. But what we're going to do is solve these bigger problems. We're going to help you convert customers, and we're going to help you make a good first impression with your potential customers. So you're talking about the bigger thing, even though the client was talking about the smaller thing. You're helping shift that perspective. Yeah. Okay. What's another thing, Brad, that people will spend money on? What are they really buying? What are the clients really buying?
Yeah. So another one here, what they are actually buying that you might not be communicating, but if you start communicating this, then that's going to resonate with them. We talked about in a previous episode, the universal laws of business. It's like the problems they have are there. You're not creating the problems. They're not fake problems. The problems are there. They're just either not communicated well by the client or they're not understood very well by you, the service provider. So listening to them and understanding, then you can actually offer to them what they're really buying. And it's not a logo or nice Instagram graphics. That's not it, because that's so cheap. Go to any design tool, go to Canva, go to
Fiverr,
go to Fiverr.
Yeah.
And just say I want, templates for a carousel on Instagram. And there you go. You got nice, pretty templates that a good designer created, and you just copy, paste, done. That's not what you're selling. And that's not what they're buying. What they would be buying is a solution to their inconsistent or outdated branding. So they might have started their business a while ago. Maybe they started their business 20, 30 years ago. I mean, even 10 years ago, stuff can look dated. If you have a website from 10 years ago, it's probably pretty, antiquated. So things move fast. But if they have a business that they started up, in the 90s, and they're still running and it's taken over new hands, and they got this antiquated branding and it's inconsistent, and they're not on all the platforms, they don't have brand insurance, meaning they're not protecting their brand from somebody else using their name on Instagram or TikTok or whatever it is. There's a whole bunch that goes into it now, and everything's inconsistent. Someone's posting screenshots of Word docs on Facebook, and it's just all over the place. You can tie all that up. And so you're not selling an Instagram carousel template. You're not selling, again, a logo or an updated, refreshed website. You're selling consistent, modernized, tasteful brand experience that solves the problem of what is going on here. That's what they're buying.
I love it. Okay, I just looked up while you were talking. I looked up. I always see these fast food restaurants rebranding, redesigning their brands, redesign their logo, they're redesigning an outdated brand style and making it more current in most cases. And some of them go retro back to the older kind. Yeah. So one of these that pulled up on here was Burger King. And it was in 1969, their logo. In 1994, they changed their logo. Then in 1999, they changed their logo. So 5 years later, they changed it again. And then in 2021, they changed it again. So 2 years later, that's the Burger King. And then they've had the same redesigned version since, in 2021. So 20 years. So one of them lasted 20 years before they redesigned it again. But if you start paying attention, you'll see some of these mega brands. Pepsi just redesigned their logo, for example. It's probably the third or fourth Pepsi logo in the last 20 or 30 years that I've seen, where they they had the lowercase logo and now they went to all this uppercase. It was a little bit of a drama in the design space because people didn't like it that much at the start. Everybody's probably getting used to it now, but you look at these things and they redesign them. Cars do this. Cars redesign. You see the car come out and you're like, oh, that is so great. It looks so modern. It looks so great. And then how long is it before they sunset that design? It's like 5 years at most before they're like, okay, here comes the new model that is now updated. And it makes every other one on the road look dated. So these major businesses are redesigning because they're outdated. They're outdated. And you can use this to your advantage. Just that same conversation that I just had. Hey, you know how many times McDonald's or Burger King has redesigned in the last 30 years? And you're still using the logo that your grandpa used 53 years ago when he started the business. Now, there's something to be said about staying retro, but there's also something to be said about getting your brand up to date with the styles of branding that are out now. Yes. So what are you really selling? An improved brand that's not outdated.
Exactly. And you can still respect and honor the tradition that you created, because what you can't buy is that heritage. If your brand comes with that. And you're like, we've been in business since 1924. And you go, great. You know what you have that nobody else has? That heritage, that tradition. So what we're going to do is we're going to honor that. We're going to respect that. And there's a lot of examples. Like I was just taking a look at the Tim Hortons. Tim Hortons is, the big coffee chain here in Canada. Funnily enough, I think it was bought by like an American company, but it's still like a beloved big name kind of, it's like our Dunkin' Donuts type thing. It's nothing totally remarkable, but Canadians get behind Timmy's. And so the Tim Hortons logo looks roughly the same as it did back when Tim Horton, the hockey player, was started it. It's kind of got that scripted kind of hands writing style, but it's a little more refined. It's very consistent. If you were to take guidelines and rulers, you'd see all the lines are perfect, all the line height and the X height and the base height, all of it's perfect. Some designer went in and created a science out of it. But based on the handwritten Tim Horton was the original logo. It kind of looks the same, but refined. So I think if Tim Horton were alive today, looking at the logo, he'd recognize his brand that he started. It'd just be like, whoa, that looks just like a little more polished, maybe a little more mainstream, but it honors the heritage.
Yeah. It's not a wholesale abandon everything, but it is updating an outdated brand. And that's something that oftentimes we're actually selling to the client. All right, let's do another one. I'm going to go with low brand loyalty. That's a problem that the client has. So what are we really selling? We're selling your ability to endear yourself with a potential customer and turn them into a loyal customer, a loyal fan of your brand. Nike, man, is like the greatest company of all time that has done this. They're not the greatest company of all time because I know that there's some people, there's some practices in their production processes that are controversial. So let's just say it like that. But from a brand standpoint, they are so strong that people will wear a Nike hat just because it has the Nike logo on it. They love their Nike hat. They'll wear it because of brand loyalty. There are people out there who will not wear anything other than Adidas. That's it. Oh, Adidas. They're not going to wear Nike anything because they're loyal to Adidas. How do you create that with your customers? That's what we do at my agency. We can design a logo for you, but what we want to design is a logo that creates that kind of brand loyalty, that people will be proud to wear that hat because they're loyal to that brand, to your brand. You start talking to your clients that way, and it changes the whole dynamic of the conversation. Now, all of a sudden, you're not being compared to a logo download that they can have off of some template website. You're being compared to other agencies that are considering the more valuable offering of brand loyalty when the client is just looking for a logo design. It's how you level up. You're leveling up your image in the eyes of your clients.
Yeah, that's a good one. And that's way more valuable and deep than a logo, a social media graphic, a newsletter template, a website. That's way more deep. And you actually have to, like, if you promise that, or if maybe you don't promise that, but you promise strong efforts towards creating that, then that means you have to follow up and you need to show up and be like, okay, what is involved in creating brand loyalty? And that's...
So level yourself up in that process. So
learn it.
Start talking about that thing. And then when you're designing it, you're not just thinking about the aesthetics. You start thinking about what are the things that are going to make people be loyal to this? What's the way that I can emotionally connect with this brand or this logo that I'm designing and emotionally connect with the potential customer? How do we do it?
Study it. Like, imagine being that designer, that designer who studies what makes people loyal to brands, listens to podcasts, reads books, goes on podcasts. Maybe you start your own podcast being like, hey, I'm a designer. I run such and such boutique agency and, this in this city. And I actually started this podcast to better understand brand loyalty. And that's what this podcast is about. And you reach out to brands, CEOs, marketers, people who are head of marketing, chief marketing officers of like big brands, companies, maybe longtime brands where they're like the choice option. And you ask them questions like, look, this podcast is about curiosity and understanding how and why people do that. And then you study it, talk to people, talk to psychologists, talk to authors, talk to other brands. And then imagine being the agency or the freelancer who says, I run a popular podcast, or maybe it's not popular, but maybe it's a niche podcast that people listen to about brand loyalty. And I've talked to people from McDonald's to Timmy's to the local mom and pop shop that's been open for 100 years, to this place, to this deli. And I've talked to people and I spent hundreds of hours in conversations trying to understand it. And that's exactly what we offer in our service. There's nobody better, or I'm one of the top for understanding how to imbue brand loyalty into your brand. So here's what we offer. You're going to get logos, you're going to get all that sort of stuff, but that's not what you're buying from me. You're buying the opportunity for this deep brand loyalty, and I want to partner with you on that. And so that person's like, you're going to attract a different client. You're not going to attract the client who's like, well, I don't know, I just opened my ski shop and I don't know if I care about brand loyalty. I'm the only ski shop on the hill. You're like, okay, or I'm a food truck. But those bigger brands, those bigger companies that are like, look, we're having a hard time getting people to come back to us. Keep going there. They got something in the water over there. And you go, and I know what's in the ingredients. So let's go.
Yeah, there's some amazing businesses that have done this so well, created that brand loyalty. I'm loyal to some brands like these melon hats. I've bought so many of these freaking melon hats. I love these hats. They've created brand loyalty with me. I've got probably 12 of these things and they're like $70 each. They come out with a new style and I'm like, I'm buying that. That one's too cool. I'll wear that. And so I'm loyal to that brand. I'm loyal because it's a good product. I like their logo. I know it's an expensive hat. It feels and fits better. I'm proud to wear it as a hat. They've created that brand loyalty with me, and they do it through, I get their text messages. I get their emails. I get their notification that the new style's dropping on Friday or whatever. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. Is this going to be another one that I buy? Because they come out with them and then they go away. As soon as they sell out, then they're gone. So it's like this limited thing. You only have this certain little window to get it. And all those kinds of things create this brand connection that makes me want to keep involved and loyal to that thing. I barely wear any other hats than that brand now because of that. So
it's the Seth Godin says, people like us do things like this. And it's like the reason why, say, Harley Davidson people, if you know any, I don't know, maybe you are one, but it's like Harley Davidson people are Harley people. Yeah. You're not going to find
you're not going to be caught dead on a Honda.
No.
Yep.
No.
Yeah.
And maybe they started on a Honda because they couldn't afford it, or they just got into the motorcycle game and they're like, hey, I got a crotch rocket.
Yeah.
Or I got this, little street bike. But as soon as I got on my Harley, like somebody said, I don't know who said this, might've been Seth Godin, I'm not sure. It was like, Harley Davidson people get Harley Davidson tattoos. Like that, not always, obviously, but that's brand loyalty. And you're like, what is that? And it's not because their bikes are just the best. And, of course they produce quality products, but it's like, people are like, nope, that's my bike. That's my culture. That's my vibe. That's my message. That's the identity. I want to associate with it. When I ride up on my bike or when I'm riding by myself on the open highway and I'm looking down and I got this soft tail, that's different. And so if you could create that, if you can understand how to start to create that for a brand, like that's valuable, very valuable and hard.
So even while we're just talking about it, I know we're both getting excited about the idea of brand loyalty. I can feel it in the way you're talking, and I can envision that conversation with a client where you start talking about, they come to the table and they say they want a logo design, and you start saying, okay, yeah, we can make a logo design, but what we really want to do is create a brand that your customers are going to be loyal to, kind of like what Harley Davidson's done and what Melon Hats has done and what Nike has done with where people are proud to wear that as a brand. We want to create that for your business. Now, all of a sudden, the client is thinking way bigger than just the logo design. Now, do they always just increase their budget because you're talking about these things? Not always. Like, it takes time to change your reputation and attract new types of customers. But as soon as you start talking like this in your marketing and in your sales meetings, you're going to be changing the perception of your brand in the eyes of your potential customers. Then your referrals will be different. The leads will be different. The transactions will be different. So you got to start talking about the things that people are really buying, even when they come to you wanting a $50 logo. And then that's a good practice, because with the $50 logo, who cares? If they don't say yes, then what you did is you just saved yourself from losing $20 on that transaction. So good for you that they said no to the $50 logo project, because you were going to lose money on it anyway. So it's good practice for you to start talking the bigger talk about these things that we're talking about that you're really selling to clients.
Yeah.
Okay. What's the next one, Brad?
Next one would be, let's say you're talking to somebody, maybe you're at a conference, and you're talking to somebody and they're saying, you know what, we're about to launch this new, I actually just came across like this wearable AI tool that a friend of mine works at this company. And I was like, hey, congrats.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. I got fed that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, a buddy of mine I went to school with that I really appreciated, his work. And, we were friends at the time too. I was like, hey, congrats. This is really cool. I'm actually going to check this company out. It seems like a really neat tool. I'm going to keep my eyes on it. I'm always looking at new AI tools and developments. And so let's just say we're talking and I'm at a conference and I see him and he's like, hey, our founder's here. You should talk. And they're like talking about launching this new product, and they're kind of, stressed about, how it's going to go, or, they got a really lean team and it's kind of hard to figure out. There's so many things to do. And they got a basic site up with a landing page, but they're like, look, I think this is going to be a game changer, but I'm really afraid that it's going to flop, because we've got this idea of it being like this lion's roar, but it's going to come out like a little rubber ducky squeak. And we want something big, but I'm afraid we can't do that. And I don't want to ruin that first impression, let's say. So you're listening, you're talking. Now, if you go and say, you know what, I can help you with that. How about I do a nice logo and a really cute website that you're like, look, we're playing a different game here. You've lost it, right? Yeah. You've lost it. They're not interested. But if you go, that sounds incredible. And you know what would sell that really well, that would help you with that product launch, is all of the brand collateral, the launch materials, the demos, from the video, the multimedia to the website to the social. I mean, there's like a million things, maybe not a million things, but there's at least 100 touch points that I can already just think of right now that need to be taken care of. And I think that if we create, that a big splash so that you can really get out the gate with that lion's roar, I think that's going to make a big difference. And that's, I could do that for you. Let's go for coffee and hear me out. That versus the guy selling a logo, that guy's getting a coffee meeting and going, that sounds interesting. I'm a little hesitant because we just met, but I like your style and I need help. And screw it. Let's have a call, or let's go for coffee. And you bring the heat and talk that. So help them with the successful product launch. What they're buying is a successful product launch, or what they're buying is an avoidance of a product launch failure. And if you're just selling them a website, then that's not that valuable. Sure, they might buy a website as a part of a bigger campaign, but that's a small ticket. Yeah. And a small transaction. But if you're selling a successful product launch, and mitigating the risk of a product failure, that's very valuable. And that's more of what they're looking to buy.
Yeah. Yeah. That go-to-market confidence that they're looking to buy, this successful product launch. So you're talking about that when they're talking about needing a logo or a website. Oh, we just need a website. We got to get a website up for our product. And you say, okay, well, what are you trying to accomplish with this? Well, we're going to market and then blah, blah, blah. And then you start saying, okay, so we need a go-to-market website that makes the best image possible of your business. You start talking about the thing that's bigger than just an aesthetically pleasing, user-friendly website. You're talking about this go-to-market product launch or business launch.
Yeah. And what you mentioned there, I want to touch on, because a lot of the time the client's not going to feed you all that. The little role play I did with myself there, a lot of the time the client's not going to give you that. If a client gives you that magic and serves it up on a platter, then you would be a fool not to roll with that. A lot of the time they're going to go, hey, so what do you do? I'm like, oh, I'm a web designer. I have a creative agency and we're here, talking to folks like yourself and seeing what everybody's up to. Oh, cool. We're actually looking for a logo designer, and they're kind of putting a guard up, we got a couple guys, and I mean, we can, Canva just launched that thing and we could just use templates and it's great. But I don't know, do you do logos and websites or something like that? Trying to diminish the value and be like, you go, sure. Yeah. I mean, that's part of what it is that we offer in a part of the bigger strategy, but okay, but put that aside for a sec. What do you do? My friend here, our friend here just told me that you're launching this new wearable AI. Talk to me about that. I'm interested in that. Get it back on them. Get them answering questions about themselves. This. That's cool. So what are you excited about? When is that coming out? It's coming out in, in August. And do you got everything prepared? What's, are you nervous about it? Actually, yes, because we're afraid this is going to happen. Oh, tell me about that. So you went from, you do logos, you're a Canva creator or some crap like that. You're to, okay, enough about that. Tell me about what you're up to. I want to hear about you. And then they talk about themselves, and then they start to reveal and they start to feed that. And you just kind of coax it out of them and just let them talk and let them be passionate about their thing and let them reveal to you what is maybe making them uncomfortable so you can understand what their pain points are. Then you go, look, you know what would sell that really well? Do you know what would make that a successful product launch? A really good highlight reel. I'm talking high quality, dramatic, I'm thinking drones. I've got big ideas here for that. But on top of that, your product launch, have you ever thought about this? An automated email marketing sequence that keeps things going so that, the certain percentage don't buy, blah, 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 blah. And this, what if all of the branding materials were consistent and this happened? Imagine that. What do you think about that? That actually sounds really cool. I have no idea where to start with that though. I don't have the budget. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's figure out, then you got a better path rather than, so you create logos or something like that? Are you a clip art guy, or it's a totally different conversation?
Yeah, you're leveling up the conversation, which is going to lead you to selling a bigger product size or project size to the client. You're leveling up that conversation, helping the client realize that they're buying something more than what they think they're buying. This is the thing that I think is a good takeaway for people. A lot of times your client is the one coming to you saying that they need a logo because in their mind, that's the problem. You have to be the one who starts talking about what their real problem is. And it's these kinds of things that we're talking about on this episode. That's their real problem. But many clients don't even understand their own real problem. They're just walking around saying, I got to get a website launched because our project is, our new product is going to market. Yeah. And you are the one who starts talking about a go-to-market marketing strategy for them. That's more than just the website. It includes XYZ services that will help them have a successful product launch. So I think that's the thing. You have to be the one as the creative entrepreneur to change the dynamics of this conversation with your clients. Yeah. It's not up to them. They do not understand it in their own business. Most people.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's do one more, Brad. Oh, do you have? You have.
I was just going to say. I think. Yeah. I was just going to say. I think. maybe you can close us out with one. You got one more?
I got one good one because this is so motivating to me. It was always so motivating to me. Difficulty standing out. And I think that this taps into a client's competitive entrepreneurial spirit. So many entrepreneurs and business owners and leaders of companies, they're so competitive. So one thing that's nice to do is, and I did this a lot at my agency in sales meetings, client comes to you and they say that they need a new website, and you transition the conversation to, okay, tell me who your top 2 or 3 competitors are. And you pull up the sites of the competitors and your potential client's site, and you start talking to them about their brand and business not standing out in the landscape of the competition. And this difficulty standing out and one-upping the competition is such a pain point that so many people will buy a bigger engagement to win that competition. And so I love that. On logo design, we've talked a lot about that as an example in this session. Somebody comes to you and says, hey, I need a new logo. And you say, okay, great. Yeah, we design logos. What are you trying to accomplish? Blah, blah, blah. You could go into the brand loyalty conversation. You could go into the product launch or the inconsistent, outdated branding. You could go into those, or you could go into let's look at the logos of your 3 top competitors and let's compare and let's brainstorm a little bit on ways that we can make you stand out with this new logo. Because we don't want to just design a logo for you. We want to design a logo that differentiates you from your competition in a way that makes your clients become more loyal or more interested in your business than your competitors. That's what we want to do. And then the client is all of a sudden thinking the bigger thing. You're getting down to the root of their real problem here, and you're stoking that competitive fire, which is so effective. Oh my gosh, man, I'm so motivated by competition. I grew up with 4 brothers, and that was just like freaking Lord of the Rings, Lord of the Flies, WWE. It was all of the stuff. It was battle zone. Yeah.
Battle zone.
So I'm just like competitive, so competitive in my normal nature.
Yeah, no, and that's like business by nature is competitive, and it might be like cooperative competition, like there's more than enough room at the table, but sometimes you got to eat someone's lunch, right? So, and you want to, like, let's be honest, like if you're just kind of like being really gentle about it and your clients, and they're not scooping up their fair share, it's because they're not standing out. Like there's something wrong here.
Yeah.
And if you're not selling a logo or a website to those people, you're selling, let's get you some lunch, okay? Let's get you to the table. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah, sure, websites and logos are a part of it, but forget that. Let that be my problem. Let's get you to the table, because this one over here and this guy and this one, they're scooping up all your fair share. And there's no reason why you can't be doing that. What, at least as far as I'm concerned. So let's work together and we'll make that happen. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. Help them stand out amidst their competition. It's a good one.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, I like this one. This was a good show. I hope that those of you listening, that gave you some ideas the next time you go and talk to somebody, or maybe that next email that comes in, or you're going to a conference and, you get into some conversations and someone asks what you do, or someone's wondering, hey, could you sell me a logo, or can you build me a website? Elevate the conversation. Get them into a higher pitch of what you're really talking about by getting deeper into what the problem is. And maybe some of these ideas jogged your, created some thoughts of how, maybe this is what they're really trying to go for. This is really what they're buying. Because nobody's buying a logo. Nobody's buying a website. AI can build your website, and Canva can give you all the templates that you need. Honestly, it's like, so no one cares about that, but it's a part of the whole thing. And if you can get to the root of the problem, you can start selling real things that they're actually wanting to buy. So hopefully that was valuable to you. If it was, let us know in the reviews. Review on your favorite podcast app. Let us know. Leave us a comment on the YouTube videos as well. That's always cool to read those and to hear your thoughts, ideas, and feedback. And special thanks again to our friends at Wix Studio for making this podcast possible. We really appreciate it. Yeah, I think that's all we got for today. We'll see you on our next episode.
Okay.
Cheers.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye-bye.